You there, pay attention! Going to learn to do the painty things with the sticky things and the color things. Dragons, I like dragons.
Welcome Reaper fans, today we have the Zombie Dragon by Reaper Miniatures. This was from their Bones 4 Kickstarter. I'll give you a 360 of the miniature. Very, very nice. This will be painted in rotting flesh colours. You've got protruding bones, so we're going for a dark, gruesome, gooey, sticky, zombie, yucky look. And I will be using a base boss, 100mm base. I will glue it onto the base. I am going to put my gravel on the bottom. I will come back once I have added the gravel and I have given the whole miniature an undercoat. I will probably be going for a white undercoat for the dragon and grey for the base. Then we'll go probably with rotting flesh colour, which will be green. I think I've got got maggot white. That's a very nice colour. I did have a rotting flesh. Now, where was that? Rotting flesh. I will come back and show you all the paints. I'm getting carried away with myself. The undercoats are both done now on the miniatures. We have the base, and it's had a grey primer. I will now give the base a black ink wash all over the base there. And the zombie dragon I have painted with skeleton bone. I will now cover the whole miniature in Agrax Earthshade. Now I'm using the Agrax Earthshade because what will happen, it'll bring out all the details and make it easier to paint later on, because with this miniature there's quite a lot of bone showing. So to get the bones painted first and get the Agrax Earthshade on will give that bone a wash and make it look more real and like it should be, which is bones. Then I am going to move on. I have some mouldy skin by MSP. I will be mixing that with some greens and we'll be doing the skin on that later. But first of all, I'll get these 2 ink washes on, I'll let them dry and I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. So we got the ink washes all dry, got the Agrax Earthshade all over the dragon, and we got the black ink wash drying on the base there. So what I've got now is I've got Mouldy Skin by MSP Paints, and I am going to paint over the skin areas on this dragon. Now it won't take long to do, so we're just going over the skin. And just carefully going around the areas that I want painted with the mouldy skin. I will do this over the whole miniature where I need the skin, leaving the areas where the bone is protruding through the flesh. And go down the face. When we do zombies, when you're using blood effects or anything, when later on we'll be going for a dark colour blood, because we are trying to get a zombie effect. Everything's rotten, so it's not going to be fresh blood So we're trying to make the dragon look rotten. So we just go over certain areas where the skin is kind of just hanging onto the bones, like so. What I'll do is I'll finish this off and with the green, and then I'll come back and show you the next part. I have to do it this way because if I didn't, my videos would be very long, and nobody really wants to watch a video for more than 15 to 30 minutes. There we go. So I'll come back once I've done this a little bit. Okay, so my dragon has all the mouldy skin on. Now I want to move on to the wings and just add a little bit more highlight to the wings, and for that I am using the mouldy skin again, but I'm going to use some maggot white, and I am going to mix the colours together and make a lighter shade. So all I'm doing is I've got a little bit of the mouldy skin and I'm adding a touch of the maggot white with my brush, and once again I'm going over the areas of the wing that I want to be highlighted. Again, very simple, just going over the edges, keeping the recesses where the ink wash has laid, because what we do later on is we go over the dragon with another ink wash, but this time a very light ink wash, and this will help blend all the colours in and also make it look mouldy and old and yucky, and that's the look we want for this dragon. So I'm just going over the highest areas and the wings, and I'll do this on all the wings where it's slowly falling apart, decaying away, and it'll just give a little highlight, and it'll be different from the body, so you've got a slight variation in colour to the wings than the body, and that will work well once the dragon is finished. And again we're going to go over the 1 second, there you go. Never be afraid of making mistakes. I do it all the time. It's just fixing the mistakes as you go along. Just get back to the colour you wanted and repeat, and you'll be fine. There we are. So what I'll do is I'll finish all these areas off, because it's very difficult to do this in front of the camera, and I'll come back and show you what's next. Yes, now we can see the wings have been done, nicely mixed together. I used a lighter tone towards the edges of the back of the wings, just to give a slight definition and shade into the wing, which I think looks very nice. So the next part is we're going to fill in all the areas of bone with flesh wash. This is Flesh Shade Reichland, and it's the gloss version from Games Workshop. So what we do with this is a nice dark colour, but it's fantastic for doing zombies and things like that, because what you do is you just put it on over your bones. See the ribs that are showing out there? You just put this on and let it run into all the little crevices, like so. Can't see it too well in this camera, but what happens is once that dries, it'll look like old manky blood, but it'll keep that gloss finish, so it'll look wet and gooey. So what I'm going to do is go over all the areas, like around the mouth, for instance, around the mouth, there we go. So just going over all the areas that there's bones and flesh showing, that aren't covered with mouldy skin. So just certain areas, and once that's dry it will give a beautiful effect. I can't really see it this well on the camera. It's a shame about that. I can't really see it too well on the camera. Once I get the photographs done, it will probably show up a lot better. There we are. I can see a bit better on that one. But what happens with this flesh shade? It will stay wet, so you'll get a nice gooey, wet look to the miniature. There we are. You can see it a bit better now. You can see the reds, and once this is dry it'll give off a lovely glossy effect to like the wet gooiness. So I'm going to wait for this to dry now, and then I'll come back. What I'm going to do is with the eye I'm going to paint that white, and then I'll use my ink wash to highlight the area. But I'll come back and show you what's next as soon as that's dry. And while that's drying, I am going to dry brush my base and get that all finished up too. And then we'll go back to the zombie again. For the next part of the miniature, I'm going to be using a soft tone wash from Army Painter, and I am just going to go over the wings and a few different areas on the miniature. Let me just put a little bit onto my pad, and just using a character brush I'm just going to go over the areas here. What will happen is this will help to blend in the wings and the paintwork. And what I want to do, again, like I showed you before, I'm going to use a cotton bud and pull off some of the excess ink. And this will give a nice effect to the wing, just on the highest areas. So I'm going along with my cotton bud, just taking off the excess and letting the colours come through. Because we're using a nice brown ink, it's given it a nice dirty look, and it looks mouldy now. So I'm going to do this to the rest of the wings. I'm going to fill in the eye. I've done the white in the eye. I'm going to put the pupil in, and I'll just touch the rest. And what we'll do then is just a very light dry brush of a lighter colour, and when I get to that stage I'll come back and show you that stage. Now we're on the last part of the miniature. I've got him stuck to the base. I've done his eyes. I've added a little bit of orange around the eyes to give him more of a glowy look. And I've done the base. All I need to do now is add a little bit of flocking to the base, give the rim of the base black paint, and I am going to call this miniature done. I'm going to just add a tiny bit of highlighting to the very tips of the scales, and that's just a very light dry brush with bleached bone, and that's just to highlight the tips. So I will come back and show you the finished miniature. Here is the finished miniature, the zombie dragon by Reaper Miniatures. I'm going to give you a 360. Added some little shrubs to the base. I painted in the little claws on the wings black, and I did a little bit of highlighting around the miniature. The eyes, like I said before, I did with orange, and then I used maggot white, and then I used white on top of that just to give a more glowy feel. I didn't add a pupil because I wanted it to be undead, so it was more of a cloudy look in his eye. The wings came out lovely. I'm very happy with that. They got like a yellowy brown. They look like they are hanging off his bones. It looks like the skin is getting pulled away. It does look like he is rotting. So I'm very happy how that came out. Next Wednesday's build and paint is Marfrangle, the dragon. This is one of the large Reaper Bones miniatures from Reaper Miniatures, and this will be on the painting table next week. So if you like my channel, please subscribe. If you want to see the videos early and have more contact with the Goblins of Mordor, and if you'd like to have your name in the credits for supporting me, then please think about joining my Patreon. And until next time.
Goodbye, my fellow ones. Sleep well. Dream of evil paintbrushes.